All processes that attract a payment will have a system-generated invoice or invoices, as well as the accepted payment channels to be used. As such, you should not make any additional payments to facilitate the processing of your application. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the tutorial for Transfer by Personal Representative to a Purchaser, LRA 43. The prior process of registration of the personal representative as executor or administrator, Form LRA 39, is a prerequisite for this transfer process. Transfer by personal representative to purchaser is the process of conveying rights of a property from the administrator of the property to an interested party, that is, a purchaser. To begin with, you log into the platform. Key in your ArdhiSasa ID or national ID number, enter your password, and then click Continue. Upon doing so, you'll be provided with a one-time password code, an OTP, which will be sent to the phone number you used to register with on the platform. Once you have received the OTP, type the code onto the OTP prompt box and then click Login. You'll then be navigated to the dashboard. The account you're logged in with is your private account. For you to initiate this process, you'll need to switch to your advocate account, so go ahead and click on the profile icon. It will display a drop-down menu with the professional account which has been approved for you as an advocate. For more information on how to upgrade to a professional account, check out our YouTube video through the link featured in the video description. On the landing page, navigate to the Land Registration section and click on Transfer. Here, you'll find various transfer services. The one we are applying for is Transfer by Personal Representative to Purchaser, LRA 43, so go ahead and click on it. You'll be directed to the Applications page, and here, there are a number of tabs provided. There's Pending, Ongoing, Completed, Rejected, and Cancelled. All the applications that you have initiated will be listed among the tabs provided, depending on the level of processing of your application. The Pending tab features applications that you have initiated as an advocate but have not completed. It or they still need some action from your side or from the parties involved in the applications. The Ongoing tab features applications which you have submitted as an advocate and have been forwarded to the ministry for processing. The Completed tab features applications which have been approved by the relevant ministry officials. The Rejected tab is for applications that have been rejected by the ministry officials for one reason or another. The reasons will be communicated to you on the application. And the Cancelled tab is for applications which have been cancelled by the different parties involved in the application process. For you to initiate this application, you will click on the New Application button on the top right-hand corner. Please note that if you have not switched roles, the New Application button will be unavailable. You then be navigated to the page with FAQs, which is the frequently asked questions specific to the Transfer by Personal Representative to Purchaser. You can go ahead and explore the FAQs to get an understanding of this application. If satisfied, click on Next. The next section is the proprietorship details. Here, you'll first be required to fill in the parcel details. So go ahead and enter the parcel number in the format registry/block and then the block number with no space in between / the parcel number. The registration of personal representative as executor or administrator reference number field is not marked with an asterisk sign, meaning it is not mandatory to fill, because some of the administrators were registered in the manual space. However, if you have the reference number, for system-processed applications, proceed and key in the reference number. The next part is the transferor details, where you are required to enter the ArdhiSasa ID of the transferor, who in this case is the personal representative of the estate. Once you've entered the ArdhiSasa ID, click on Search. A pop-up box will appear, requiring you to select the category of person to execute as the transferor. It can either be the transferor executing on his or her own behalf, or an attorney executing on behalf of the transferor. If you choose the attorney option, you'll key in the power of attorney entry number in the format registry/the entry number / the month of registration / the year of registration, and then click on Search. And the power of attorney entry number will be listed underneath the search bar along with his or her ArdhiSasa ID. You can reach out to the customer care desk to confirm your power of attorney entry number. A ticket will be created for you and you'll get a notification on your SMS as well as on your account confirming the correct power of attorney entry number. For the purpose of this tutorial, we will choose the Self option and then click on Save. Upon doing so, the name of the transferor will be listed below and the name of the person executing on behalf of the transferor will be listed on the right. A key thing to note is that if you wish to change the transferor you picked for one reason or another, you can click on the remove button and then you can enter the correct ArdhiSasa ID of the transferor. The next part is the transferee details, that is the details of the purchaser. To begin with, you'll be required to select the ownership type, which could either be sole, joint proprietorship or proprietorship in common. In this scenario, we'll be going with the sole option. You'll proceed to enter the ArdhiSasa ID of the transferee, who at this point must have been registered on the platform, and then click on search. A pop-up box will appear, requiring you to select the category of person to execute as the transferee. Kindly follow the steps portrayed in the previous section, and the details of the transferee will be displayed. You'll then be required to select the ArdhiSasa registration status of the deceased proprietor. That is, whether he or she was registered on the platform or not. If the deceased was not registered on ArdhiSasa, you'll select the second option, where you'll key in the name of the deceased person, then select the identification type. If the deceased was registered, you'll select the first option, where you'll enter the ArdhiSasa ID of the deceased and then click on the search button. You'll then move on to the transfer details. As you can see, you are required to enter either the date of grant of will or the date of grant of letters of administration. This is because if the deceased had made a will, the court authority given is a grant of probate. If the deceased did not make a will, the authority given by the court is the grant of letters of administration. In our case, the deceased had not made a will, so we'll proceed to enter the date of grant of letters of administration, then move on to enter the date of confirmation of grant. The confirmation of grant is issued to the holder of the grant after the expiration of a period of 6 months, or such shorter period as the court may direct from the date of any grant of representation. You'll also enter the consideration amount, which is the amount that was secured for the transfer in question. It's worth noting that we offer a variety of currency options, which will inform the assessment of stamp duty fee for this application. The next part is the pickup person details. This is the person to pick up the title after the transfer process has been finalized. So proceed to enter the ArdhiSasa ID of the individual, then click search, and the details of the person will be listed below. We'll then proceed to enter the law firm details, where you'll need to provide the details of the law firm that you are acting under. Here, you have the option of tying your application to a registered law firm on ArdhiSasa, where you'll be required to type in the ArdhiSasa ID of the law firm and then click on search, and the law firm details will automatically be populated. However, in our case, we'll be manually keying in the law firm details. As far as the website and the street address of the law firm are concerned, they are not mandatory fields to fill. However, you can provide the information required if applicable. You'll then go to additional provisions, where you'll add additional information or provisions that the transfer is subject to, if any. You'll move on to the valuation details. Here, you'll select whether the parcel of land in question is developed or undeveloped. In our case, it is developed, and you'll provide the type of development as well. You'll then proceed to the stamp duty details. You'll be required to select on whether to apply for exemption of stamp duty or not. Exemption of stamp duty is guided by an act or a legal clause, so you'll apply for the exemption of stamp duty payment depending on the legal clause that the stamp duty payment will fall under. If you choose to apply for exemption of stamp duty, you'll thus select the particular section under which the exemption is being sought. The default choice is section 17. We also have other section, where you'll enter the particular section and the chapter under which you are seeking the exemption. We also have the option of the legal notices, where you'll enter the legal notice number as well as the date of legal notice. You can also provide additional details concerning either of the respective choices above in the text box provided. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we will not be applying for exemption of stamp duty, so we'll click on no exemption. So after you've filled in the stamp duty details, you can then go ahead and click on next. And you'll be navigated to the documents page, where you'll upload the required documents. As you can see, there are 2 documents to upload. These are the grant of letters of administration and the confirmation of grant. A key thing to note is that the documents should be uploaded in either the PDF, PNG or JPEG formats. So go ahead and click on the Choose File button, to upload a scanned certified copy of the grant of letters of administration from your local machine or device, and the document will be listed against the Choose File button. We'll then upload a scanned copy of the confirmation of grant as well. If you have any other documents which you feel will be relevant during the processing of your application, you can click on Additional Documents, type in the name of the document, upload the document by clicking on the Choose File button, and the document will be listed alongside the latter button. You can attach several documents in this section, one at a time. If you're satisfied with the documents you have submitted to facilitate the application process, you can proceed and click on Next. The last step is the confirmation step with all the details that you have provided. So scroll through the entire page and go through the details. If satisfied, you can go ahead and click on Submit. You also have the option of going back if you need to edit any information. For this case, we'll proceed and click on Submit. Upon doing so, you'll be prompted to approve on whether you indeed want to submit the request, and then proceed and click Yes. You will then get a confirmation message on a pop-up box which affirms the application has been submitted successfully, and then click on Close. At this point, the transferor and the transferee will get a notification on SMS as well as on email communicating that the transfer process has been initiated. Subsequently, the advocate will also be notified to execute on the application with a signature and also confirm representation of some or all of the parties listed. A key thing to note is that you can view the progress level of your application on the progress bar as is featured on the upper section of your screen upon submission of your application. Below the application verification section, the advocate either accepts or rejects to represent the party or parties listed. If they do not represent some of the party or parties, they can click on Reject, and the parties will get a notification that the advocate has declined to represent, and they'll have the option of selecting or adding another advocate to represent them. In our case, you, the advocate, will choose to represent all of the party or parties listed. The last part is the Add Signature section, where you'll append your signature. However, in this case, the advocate will hold out on appending the signature until all of the parties involved have verified and signed on the application. It is key to note that the advocate must be in communication with the party or parties involved throughout the verification process for ease of operations. Once the transferor has logged in, they'll navigate to the application in question, and an OTP prompt box will be displayed with a Get OTP button alongside it. It is important to note that there is a Cancel Application button on the top right corner of the screen, which allows the party involved to cancel the application at their own discretion if they do not approve or are not aware of the application. Additionally, below the OTP prompt box, there is a disclaimer for the party involved. It instructs them to only enter the OTP code if they authorize the application made on their behalf by the advocate involved in this process. So if the individual is aware of the process and approves of it, they'll click on the Get OTP button and an OTP code will be sent to their phone number. After receiving the OTP code, the individual will then key in the exact code received on the OTP prompt box and then click on the Verify button. Upon doing so, a pop-up box will appear, affirming that the OTP has been successfully verified. So they'll go ahead and click on Close. Below the OTP verification section is the execution section. Here, the party verifying this application can change the advocate representing them at their own discretion. Upon clicking on the Change button, the individual can then enter the ArdhiSasa ID of the new advocate to represent them. Click on Search. The identification details of said advocate will be populated underneath, and then click on the Change Advocate button below. That advocate will then get a notification prompting them to accept or decline representation. The individual will then navigate to the Add Signature section, where they'll be required to append their signature. There are a number of options on how to do so. To begin with, there's the signing area here, as you can see, which allows them to sign with their computer mouse if they're using a desktop or a laptop, and alternatively with a stylus pen or their index finger if they're using a phone or tablet to access the platform. They also have the other option of signing with another device. Upon clicking on this option, a pop-up box will appear displaying 4 alternative options for signing. For more information on the available signing options on ArdhiSasa, kindly view our YouTube tutorial explaining the same through the link featured in the video description. In this case, the individual will sign on the signing area, They'll place the mouse cursor on the signing area, press and hold the left click button, and then go ahead and append the signature. If they are satisfied, they can click on Save. However, if not pleased with it, there's the option of removing it by clicking on Clear and then appending the signature once again to their liking. There's a pop-up notification that will appear requiring the user to affirm whether they want to submit this as their signature. They'll click on Yes. In doing so, the transferor, who is the personal representative of the estate of the deceased, will have completed their role by consenting to the application. The remaining party that hasn't verified the application is the transferee. The navigation process to verify the application is the same as that of the transferor as shown earlier. Therefore, if the individual is aware of the process and approves of it, they'll go through the same process. As mentioned earlier, the advocate and the party or parties involved are in active communication during the verification process. As such, once the parties involved have done their bit, the advocate will be notified and they will navigate to the application status page and refresh it. As you can recall, you, the advocate, held out on signing earlier on until the parties had verified and signed on the application. With that done, you can go ahead and append your signature. You can either sign on the signing pad area using your mouse and click on Save. The second option is signing with another device using the 4 aforementioned options. So proceed and append your signature and then click Save. There's a pop-up notification that will appear requiring you to affirm that you want to submit this as a signature. Click on Yes. In doing so, you'll have completed the application up to the point of accepting execution and the parties involved consenting to the application. In order to see out your role as an advocate in this process and submit the application request, you'll duly be required to surrender the current title. At this point, a ticket and an invite will have automatically been created by the system in order to enable you to surrender the title. So go ahead and navigate to the My Appointments tab on the left panel of your screen and you'll see an invite that has been created. Click on View and you'll be able to book an appointment on the calendar to your right. Select on the date that you'd like to surrender the title and then select the time and then click on Submit. A pop-up will appear requiring you to confirm whether you want to set the appointment and then click on Yes. You also have the option of rescheduling if the date you previously selected is not convenient to you. You can choose the new date and time and then click on Reschedule. So once all the parties have signed and the original title has been surrendered, the application will transition to the Land Registration Department for stamp duty assessment. A key aspect to note is that when you apply for stamp duty exemption, the application will proceed to the collector of stamp duties for determination. If no exemption is sought, the application will proceed to the collector of stamp duties for assessment and then forwarded to the valuation department for property valuation, and an invoice for stamp duty payment will be generated on the applicant's account. As you can recall earlier on, we had not applied for stamp duty exemption. Therefore, after assessment of stamp duty for the application is finalized and the property has been valued, all the involved parties will be notified to pay the stamp duty fee. This payment can be made by either one of the involved parties. In this case, the advocate is paying the fee. As such, on the invoice, kindly click on Pay. You'll be provided with available methods for payment as well as the procedures to be used. In case after you've made your payment through the KRA portal and it hasn't automatically reflected on the ArdhiSasa payment invoice, you can opt for a self-settlement process. This involves clicking on the Confirm button. A pop-up prompt box will appear requiring you to enter the ArdhiSasa invoice number, which is featured on the invoice. We'll also provide the payment registration number as is featured on your KRA payment slip and then click on Submit. Our system will check the latter information against the KRA records and automatically confirm your payment. After the payment is confirmed, the Submit Request button on the top right-hand corner is activated, and once you click on it, the application will transition to the Land Registration Department for further processing and approval. Once it has been approved, all the parties will get a notification on SMS as well as on email communicating the same, and upon accessing the application on your account, you'll notice that the progress level is at 100%, meaning that the process is complete. To confirm the registration of the transfer process, the new property owner, that is the transferee, can log into the ArdhiSasa account, navigate to the My Properties tab on the left panel of the screen, click on the View button alongside the parcel in question, Click on the Proprietorship tab, click on the Proprietorship section entries, and they'll see the transfer listed as an entry on the register. Additionally, the pickup person who you had added will be required to avail themselves to the mentioned registry to acquire the new title. That's it for this tutorial on the transfer by personal representative to a purchaser on ArdhiSasa. Feel free to give feedback on this tutorial in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell button alongside the subscribe button to get notifications on new videos as and when we post them. You can also follow us on our social media handles as are portrayed in the video description. Thanks for watching and goodbye.